The elective convention of the Opposition Alliance for Democracy Forward has gotten underway in Lilongwe, with party leader Enoch Chihana vowing to win the 2025 elections. Chihana, who pulled his party out of the Tonse governing coalition, has accused the Malawi Congress Party on walking out on the terms of the coalition. He said the coalition has failed to live to the expectations of Malawians, hence the need to change government in the 2025 elections. It has been claimed that a lot of members of parliament are in deep debts, having accumulated loans in a bid to service people's needs in their constituencies. This was revealed last night in Lilongwe during a meeting which the Center for Civil Society Strengthening organized with some MPs and parliamentary staff on Pungwanga My MP project, which is being implemented in 4 districts. One of the legislators, Nkhani from Rumpi West, says a lot of MPs are pressured to buy coffins and support social work, among others, to impress constituents for fear of not being retained in the August House.
We have been lacking such programs to enlighten our communities in terms of the laws of members of parliament, the do's and don'ts. And especially we have lacked is where there's a reminder that we don't have to forget our core role. Before we come to parliament, we have to engage. When we get back from parliament, we have to engage the communities. They have to know what is happening. And then, through the engagement, it means that the laws of members of parliament will be known to the public. We're coming in with these stakeholders, trying to help Pungwanga project. It will go a long way to address most of the challenges for generations to come. Yes, the impact cannot be felt now, but as long as we have started on a good path. There is misconception in terms of the roles of the parliament, of parliamentarians. Some feel it's about buying coffins, charity works, but the major role is representation, oversight, and legislation. So these things, the social things, should not surpass the core reason why people are voted into office.
Focal point for Pungwanga project, Message Chigadza, says it aims to promote citizen engagement with MPs and building capacity for them and parliament staff. Opposition members of Parliament have demanded a comprehensive report from the Minister of Transport, Jacob Hara, on why fuel suppliers are not remitting fuel levies. Choro Central parliamentarian Ben Pidi wonders why Malawians should be paying fuel taxes on fuel that government is not getting levies from and consequently failing to maintain roads. Pidi argues that if government is not being given the levies, it should find other alternatives to maintain the roads which are now in bad shape. Just a week ago, some local road contractors staged protests in Lilongwe over failure by the government to pay them on the work that they have already done, a situation that was attributed to the depletion of the levies. Piri had this to say.
We on the opposite side are not happy because he keeps on saying the roads in Malawi are not being maintained because the fuel suppliers are not releasing the money they collect from you and me when we buy fuel, which is called fuel levy, to the government for the said purpose of maintaining roads. As a matter of background, you know that this House passed a law that brought about levies, and there are so many levies, but the levy we're talking about here is a levy to do with fuel, with road maintenance. So what happens is, when you buy fuel, there is an amount, regardless of how small, how big, that goes to government for sole purpose of road maintenance.
And the Minister, Jacob Hara, justified why the suppliers are not remitting the levies.
It is true that most of our maintenance work hasn't been going on well. This year we haven't received a single penny from the road levy. Mostly this is because the retailers have not been remitting the fuel levy. Though they collect the fuel levy, but the main problem is started from when the kwacha had devalued. So from the time that we had devalued the kwacha, the realignment meant that we needed to realign the fuel prices with the margin that the kwacha had actually gotten devalued with. That was going to be catastrophic because then Malawians were going to cry. And so government, in trying to soothe the hardships and the lives of Malawians, decided to maintain that price.
The Malawi Human Rights Commission, MHRC, says it is failing to work according to its mandate due to inadequate funding. Chairperson of the commission, Chikondi Chijozi, says there are so many human rights violations happening in the country that require investigation by the commission but cannot look into all of them due to inadequate funding. Zuleka Nango has filed this report.
MHRC Chairperson Chikondi Chijozi says the commission has a team of very committed commissioners that are willing to take up all human rights violations reported to them, but cannot because of inadequate resources. She says they will take the opportunity of the workshop to learn from others on how other institutions are dealing with such challenges.
That have come in to support, but you always know donors have a special interest in terms of areas that they would like to support. They may not be able to support the core function of the commission, which is general investigation of human rights. So that responsibility still remains with the government to ensure that as a commission we are fully functional.
Chairperson for the Network of African National Human Rights Institutions, Gilbert Sebihogo, says the workshop will help the commissioners to share knowledge on how best to overcome challenges they are facing in their respective countries in the promotion of human rights.
To provide tools that will enable them to really understand what are their roles, responsibilities, so that they can fulfill their mandates as commissioners for the promotion and protection of human rights as provided by the Paris Principles, which are actually the guidelines, we can say normative frameworks that determine the status, establishment and mandate of national human rights institutions.
EU Ambassador to Malawi, Rune Skinnebash, says the international organization is committed to supporting the national human rights institutions to promote human rights in the world.
The induction workshop that we witness here or attend here today in Malawi is an induction workshop for new human rights commissioners from throughout the SADC region. When protecting and promoting human rights, as the national human rights institutions are doing it, they are met with a series of challenges in terms of mandates, in terms of resources, sometimes even in terms of harassment of their own staff.
The Network of African National Human Rights Institutions is a regional umbrella non-profit organization with a membership of 47 African national human rights institutions across Africa. Zuleika Nanguo, Zodiac, Lilongwe.
You're watching the news on Zodiac with me, Chancellor Mozobanda. We'll be back after this break.
Nkoma University Nkhani ndi university yovomerezeka ndi nthambi yona za maphunziro au kajenjede ya National Council for Higher Education nche. Nkoma University imapereka maphunziro a diploma, bachelor's degree komanso master's degree monga awa: Faculty of Education, Bachelor of Education in Mathematical Science, Bachelor of Education in Social and Environmental Studies, Bachelor of Education in Language and Literature, Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood Development, University Certificate of Education, Faculty of Theology, Diploma in Theology and Religious Education, Bachelor of Theology, Master of Theology, Faculty of Commerce, Bachelor of Commerce in Accounting, Bachelor of Commerce in Business Management and Entrepreneurship. Kuti mulembere maphunziro a degree a generic mukuyenera kukhala ndi MSCE kapena yofanana nayo yomwe ili ndi 6 credits kuphatikizapo English. Kwa omwe akufuna maphunziro a weekend akuyenera kukhala ndi MSCE kapena yofanana nayo yomwe ili ndi 4 credits komanso diploma or certificate kuchokera ku sukulu yovomerezeka. Omwe akulembera maphunziro a masters akuyenera kukhala ndi degree kuchokera ku sukulu yovomerezeka. Nkoma University ili ndi malo ophunzirira ku Nkoma komanso ku Lilongwe. Mukafuna kudziwa zambiri pitani pa tsamba tsamba lao la website pa www.nkhoma.ac.mw kapena email nkhomauni@nkhoma.ac.mw or phone 0997 957 804. Nkhoma University, chiyambi cha nzeru ndi kuopa Mulungu.
For 50 years, the Malawi Defense Force Kamuzu Barracks has stood as the shield of our nation, defending our sovereignty, safeguarding our peace, and protecting our people. From humble beginnings through decades of change, the men and women of MDF Kamuzu Barracks have answered the call to serve with courage, with honor, with an unyielding commitment to the values that define us. To mark 50 years of its establishment, Kamuzu Barracks has organized a special event called Kamuzu Barracks Golden Jubilee Celebrations to be presided over by General P.V. Piri at Kamuzu Barracks Football Ground on Friday, 13 September 2024 from 8 a.m. The Malawi Defense Force Kamuzu Barracks is not just about defense, but also about unity. Through service in times of need, whether it's responding to natural disasters or supporting our communities, our soldiers have shown what it means to be a force for good. Today, we look forward to the future, a future built on the foundation of service, solidarity, and love for Malawi. Together, we stand with pride, honoring the past, while forging ahead into a bright tomorrow. Malawi Defense Force Kamuzu Barracks, 50 years of service, 50 years of strength. Together, we march forward.
Welcome back. The headline of cancer in Malawi. Mr. Malawi has urged journalists to be part of the fight against the disease. Speaking when MSF was giving laptop prizes to 2 journalists, Mr. Malawi Governing Council member Nathan Majawa said it is worrisome that cancer is causing a lot of suffering to citizens, mainly women. Majawa said every year in Malawi over 4,000 women are diagnosed with cervical cancer and that thousands of people die of the disease.
I'm very delighted to present the prizes for the awards of Best Cancer Award. We are happy that MSF has honored their pledge to award this outstanding journalist on issues of cancer. As you remember, on 4th May this year, we were in Kobola, in Mangochi, where outstanding journalists were awarded with different prizes. And one of the categories for the awards was about cancer, which is sponsored by MSF. And this is the first time that we, as MISA, we introduced this category of cancer award story to award media personnel that have done tremendously well in terms of lighting issues to do with cancer, which is a problem in the country and world over. We have got a critical role to play as media to create awareness on issues to do with cancer. There's a number of...
One of the winners, Aston Gondo of MBC, said the award and computer prize have motivated him to write more the cancer burden to ensure that authorities and society take action.
It's a humbling experience. You see, I regard journalism as a calling, and I think as journalists from time to time we need to take proactive steps really in putting together pieces that detail the plight and suffering of the masses to help make a difference, and I think that is one so quite humbling indeed. If you are able to contribute to the discourse, that helps make a difference, particularly to the caseload based on the findings that we accessed that time we are second highest in the world, and this is quite concerning. You see, what is even more concerning is that these are not just figures. We are talking of figures north of 4,000 every year. Half of those die.
Vice President Dr. Michael Usi has challenged engineers in the country to brainstorm and interrogate on steps to protect the integrity of their profession. Speaking on Thursday at the 2024 Malawi Engineering Institution Conference, Dr. Usi said, for instance, Malawi has over the years grappled and struggled with substandard infrastructure, including roads, which have failed to withstand the test of time, something which he says reflects on the profession.
Speaking in Mangush today, Vice President Dr. Michael Usi said the attainment of Malawi's goal as a lower middle-income economy by 2030 requires the nation to focus more on efficiency of its production systems. Dr. Usi said this would require that the country should embrace technology and innovation more rigorously than before. The Vice President said, looking around the globe, it has been noted that most of the highly developed countries have done so through technology and top-notch engineering standards. He then challenging the gathering to discuss and develop the necessary capacity in innovation. Immediate past Vice President of MEI, Engineer Dr. Paul Kulemeka, who admitted the challenges, said the meeting will give them a chance to brainstorm on issues beyond the profession, including interference from projects, promoters, and poor funding.
So it's that part that we need to play. I think from what he said, perhaps we need to communicate more from an engineering point of view to the public so that they can probably streamline or pinpoint where the challenges are. Otherwise, if you don't do it, then from what the VP said, people will think that it's a failure of engineers.
This year's annual conference is being held under the theme Evaluating the Engineering Profession, Driving the Attainment of Malawi 2063. For ZBS, this is Rafael Mlozowa reporting.
In other news, South Africa's former finance minister Pravin Gordhan has died at the age of 75. The anti-apartheid struggle veteran played a key role in South Africa's transition to democracy and helped negotiate the end of white minority rule. As well as finance minister, Gordhan occupied other top government and administrative roles since the 1990s until he announced his retirement from politics in May. His family said in a statement the veteran cabinet minister died in hospital early on Friday after a short, courageous battle with cancer. It added that he was surrounded by his family, closest friends, and his lifelong comrades in the liberation struggle when he passed away in the early hours this morning. That's about what we had time for in this edition of the news. Before